Hi guys, welcome to another episode today. And I would really want you all to hold on tight to your seat and all the chat GPT and all the latest tech of AI, generative AI and LLMs that you guys have been hearing it. Today I have somebody pretty special who's going to talk a lot about deep tech and of course deep tech in relation to e-commerce, right? It doesn't get more exciting than this. So guys, I have Duncan with me today, and while I would really like to, but I would not, is I would like to introduce him, but I think best is to hear him from him, what he does, why is he here, and what is he going to talk about, special things. But after that, I have a loads of questions for him. So Duncan, welcome and thank you for joining.
Thank you so much, Nag. No, thanks for having me, and no pressure on that introduction, huh? It sounds good. But yeah, I can give a brief introduction. So yeah, hey everyone, great to meet you. Great to talk with you, Shwetank, today. I'm founder and CEO of AI Aesthetic. We do one thing really well. We build highly accurate next-gen 3D body models from mobile devices, leveraging computer vision and deep learning. So for e-commerce customers, but also we extend into digital healthcare, fitness and weight loss. So yeah, we're a B2B SaaS company based in the UK out of Oxford.
Wow, you made it sound incredibly simple, Duncan. Credits to you. Working in this space, a little bit of deep tech stuff that we do at Kui as well, and I know it's not easy, but okay, let's figure out more. I'm definitely gonna go and question you more on this because I would love to understand how that works. So, uh, I understand your company is also an app on Shopify, and it's a war out there. We know there are more than 8,000 apps on Shopify. I have subscribed to some newsletters which talks about at least 5 to 10 new apps being released every week, right?
Yeah.
And there's some very interesting use cases people are solving. And the way we look at it is they're trying to get into depth of taking a very, very small problem and trying to solve it very nicely, right? Um, we're trying to focus on intent based personalization rather than
Yep.
historic segmentation based
Yep.
on real time.
Yep.
And to do that real time, it requires a lot of work at the back, a lot of data, etc., etc. And this is something that, again, we understood because e-commerce merchants were telling us that 3%
Yep.
conversion rate, miserable. Can we do something for the 97%, etc.? So we started off as a personalization platform, but evolved it over also for visitor personalization
Yep.
because that's what we heard from the merchants. Right? I would love to start off by, asking you is what are you hearing from merchants? Why aesthetic? Why what you're doing? And, why are you doing it and how is it different?
Yeah, for sure. So look, we focus in on. I mean, we're hearing a number of things from customers, but we focus in on one or two big problems. One of them you mentioned for sure, conversion, and specifically for e-commerce brands and retailers, clothing brands and retailers, that continues to be a challenge. Converting customers, adding to cart, getting people through a checkout experience. That's one aspect we're very much focused on, which is essentially conversion, as you kind of referenced. And the second aspect is actually making sure, linked to that, that people are buying the right items in clothing. And we know, well, speaking to customers, we see a variation, it's a pretty big variation in return rates. Nevertheless, quite significant return rates in clothing, which are, and most retailers tell us 50 to 70% is driven by that. So driven by fit problems that lead to these costly returns. And these returns are anywhere between, so some customers we're working with, 40% up to even 55% of all orders are ultimately returned. And the issue is ultimately, I mean, that's, not great for customers, for shoppers, having to go back into the post office or send back items. It's irritating, annoying. It's bad for the environment. If you drive back into store, for example, that's in excess of 4 kilograms of carbon. But it's also extremely costly. So between $16 and $25 a return. So starts to add up quite quickly. It's a problem that has been pretty consistent with online clothing brands and retailers. Pre-COVID, there was a little bit of respite with COVID, which is really interesting. Some of the dynamics and the shifting in clothing and what people were wearing. There's a little bit more flexibility with loungewear than necessarily some of the more regular clothes we're wearing now. But yeah, that's one big problem, which actually we continue to be surprised by some of what we hear for customers in that space.
So you're saying on average 50% return rates.
Yeah, it varies. I have to say it varies. So we see anywhere between, some brands and retailers are exceptional.
Yeah.
Fantastic. They've got their return rate down to, 5-10%. But we continue to be surprised, and we see some brands and retailers with 40, 45, 50, 55%.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah.
and these are kind of common items. So, cross women's wear, which is important. So huge part of the market in apparel and clothing, through to, menswear. So pretty consistent. Variation, yes, but pretty consistent.
So insane logistical nightmare, costs, and so many things associated with it. It's just your margins are just going to be like leaking through the roof with all this.
Yeah, I mean it's a massive impact to the bottom line. I mean, immediately if you can stem that, and we're focused very much on kind of getting to the root cause, which comes back to why are people returning? Well, actually 50 to 70% of them it's fit. How do we get people buying the right clothes that'll fit them? They're happier, they wear for longer, and ultimately they don't return, which is fundamental to addressing this kind of this problem, which is just crazy. I mean, it's something where increasingly it's just not going away. It's one of these problems where we
Yeah.
need to find a way to solve this.
So funny enough, I just saw some headlines yesterday. I didn't read into it too much, but I think ASOS, the brand in the UK, they came out with the results, and they said that 6% of their entire thing costed them, I don't know, 100 million or whatever. No, no, I don't know, and that was because of excessive returns, right? So the impact is so huge.
That's right. Yeah, ASOS, exactly. So they just posted some results, which are, tough, really tough. I mean, they saw, a bump in COVID, but some of those fundamentals, and it's, ASOS is a great business. They're not kind of unique in this space, but the impact is just huge. And you've got customers, you've got kind of serial returners or bracketers. They're buying up size, down a size. It's a real problem that has a significant impact. And I think increasingly we've also seen coming out of COVID, there is some, we've seen a change in acceptance of technology at the kind of end user side of things. So there's much more willingness to kind of use this for their benefit, for also environmental benefits. So we're seeing a couple of kind of dynamics where brands and retailers are kind of leaning in more to sustainability. I think certainly in fashion, which is a sector which has not arguably made the kind of same strides as other sectors in efficiency and sustainability, and inclusivity as well. So
Yeah.
kind of confluence of these factors is really leading to a little bit of it's an opportunity for us as a kind of collective bunch of businesses to solve this, and organizations.
Super. Okay. So I understand the problem statement now. And I have to say I underestimated the problem statement. Right. I knew this is definitely something that impacts. It's like quite a not related fact, but recently I got to know that about worth of $10 billion worth of value is just theft from stores like the Sainsbury's and Tesco. Like people just come in and then they buy 20 things and they pay for only 18. right? So some of the time when you go deeper, you understand that the problem is so huge, and the opportunity lies because you can help optimize
Yeah,
one SKU at a time. And I
yeah.
kind of understand where you guys are coming from. So okay, that's good. Now I'd love to know that what's your unique take of solving this problem. So like, imagine me as as a person who goes to different stores, e-commerce sites, and tries to buy something. How cool is your solution, and what's the unique take to it?
I suppose our unique take is, look, so we believe fundamentally you as an individual, you should be empowered with the right data to make an informed decision, in purchasing, for example, an item of clothing. And for us, the uniqueness of it is now the ability to accurately reconstruct each individual in 3D from any mobile device gives you, ultimately, as the shopper, the customer, the right recommendation for what size of clothing, and ultimately where we want to get to, what style of clothing would suit you best and would fit you best.
Hmm.
And that, I suppose, is the uniqueness of the solution. So we're leveraging we're leveraging computer vision, deep learning to do that in a way that is highly accurate and hasn't been just hasn't been possible to get to that level of accuracy and accessibility. So to be able to do this in a kind of relatively simple way via any mobile phone, any operating system, via Android, iOS, and to do that relatively simply in an accessible way, and that's ultimately inclusive to all. That for us is the kind of the game changer now. And that's been facilitated by AI and deep learning.
So it's something like the Jetsons with, Back to the Future to Mission Impossible to everything together for e-commerce, right?
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Okay.
That's right. It's a bit of a funny one, but I think
Yeah.
the classic, the it's a nice analogy. But but the truth is, we've never been in this position. And I suppose the uniqueness of the position is the technology, timing. So the technology enabling fundamentally the technology enables us to do this. We've got the acceleration in e-commerce. We've got sustainability, a driving force, and we've got the user, ultimately the customer, the shopper, you or I, willing to use and try this for their
Okay.
benefit, but for the benefit of everyone.
Sounds super cool. So if I'm imagining, please correct me if I'm wrong, and I want to simplify this as much as possible for a merchant or a brand. Is I open a Shopify store on my Android device, right?
Yeah,
And I'm on a 3G, 4G, 5G kind of a network, or
yeah.
this is right. So network is in decent speed I'm getting, and I go and kind of like one of the SKU there, and then I can go and click of a button. There's some geeky stuff going to happen at the back who's going to scan my body and then come out with some statistics, and then go and show that this is how you will look, or this is how you would fit into this particular size, something like that.
That's right, exactly. So you go on your Shopify, you decide, hey, look, I'm after a new hoodie today. Click on our link, which integrates via Shopify. So really easy to download, less than 60 seconds. It's on the website. You want to find your size. Click on it. Click on the widget. Click on the button. We
Mm-hmm.
then take gender identity, height, weight, and we can give you actually quick sizes in 5 seconds. So
Mm-hmm.
we have a little bit of a quick sizing functionality for those if you're in a real rush, you're like, hey, I'm on the move. Great, we can give you some quick sizes. But we equally offer and encourage people to do a full scan. You turn in front of the camera,
Okay.
your smartphone, mobile device, 10 seconds. We then push you back to the retailer, the brand where you're shopping. A pop-up comes on screen. Hey, Shwetank, here's your sizing. Here's what's right for you at this brand or retailer. You choose your size with confidence.
Wow, wow. And you know what, to be honest, I would not be worried about those quick size thing that much, because Again, working in that real time, tech stuff, I understand very well that there are different kinds of shoppers, and not everybody's journey is the same. However, the serious and more high intent shoppers are willing to put the time in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? If you just come in, you want to browse, look at it, and somebody used a very nice word that I like to say is like, they were flirting with your brand. So just come in, look at it, and just get out. And they are in no mood of buying. So, but the ones who are serious enough, they would really like to see how I look or how this is going to turn out on me, etc. Or is where your tech can integrate into. Oh, okay, this is very nice. And in terms of how complex it is for merchants to integrate. So you've talked about the end user experience, which I'm sure everybody's trying to make it. Loading becomes easy, and the results are shown instantaneously, etc. But from a merchant perspective, what are all these set of activities that I might have to take care of?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's straightforward. So on Shopify, I mean, we're a Shopify app available on the marketplace there. You install the app, you configure it. So actually, we offer some customization if you want to change the color, change the font, for example, so that it syncs with your visual identity or how how your size is.
Right.
And literally within a minute, 60 seconds, you're live. You're then able to, and we provide a kind of customization service behind the scenes where effectively we customize your size charts, your tech packs, so that the recommendations that your customers receive are based on your specific clothing. So pretty easy, pretty straightforward. That's on Shopify. We also integrate in WordPress, Salesforce, BigCommerce, same principle, just slightly different. So we operate with JavaScript. So it's a JavaScript integration. A line of code goes in, and then calls. Essentially, the service is a complete plug and play solution. So there's nothing, to do. There's no maintenance beyond just pushing the install button.
Wow, now science sounds pretty cool. Right. Okay. Now let's kind of focus on the customer point of view, right? And I'm sure a lot of research would have gone into you developing your product, user experience, and how fast you would want it to load, how to look, etc. One of the biggest things that we are realizing is on a standard principle of historic data and first time or the first party data. Right? I think what you're talking about is kind of a gold mine of first party data that the brands can leverage, hang on to, and use that in multiple different use cases altogether. Right? Again, eating, sleeping, drinking Shopify every day. I can kind of think that the power of this is insane. And I'm gonna give a shout out to another app that I saw very recently on Shopify. Is I'm forgetting the name right now, but they are like a price negotiation app. And somebody wrote, like, if you're trying to sell something for like 100 quid, and then you can negotiate the price, and there's a bot which comes and says that, okay, I'm willing to give it to you for 80 quid. And then this person wrote back to the bot saying, it's for my better half's birthday tomorrow. I'm maximum willing to pay 90. And then they said, okay, fine. So the transaction is one. But the other is the information that is my better half's birthday tomorrow. That again, that they're all gold mine of data which you can actually take and start using it. And that's where I would like to kind of, ask this question to you, Duncan, that with this data, is it that you have figured out a lot of use cases already, or you think that you're sitting just at the tip of the iceberg and there's so much more which can get added to it eventually?
I think it's the latter, actually, to be candid. I mean, we instinctively, we feel there's a lot of value in the data because we're providing a level of kind of understanding around shape, size, which has just not been possible until now at a mass level, right? So we're talking about mass adoption. But what we haven't yet done, and we're excited to do, is look at leveraging that data in partnership with brands and retailers and combining it. And I think that's where the kind of real magic and opportunity is in the context of, wider metrics that they're seeing that then can drive loyalty and better segment. So for us, there's a kind of principle of this instinctively, and we know this will help brands and retailers lower inventory. We know it's going to help them design better fitting clothes and make their ranges of clothing much more inclusive. Because we know, so some customers tell us, hey, look, we've got 150,000 customers, but we don't really understand you. We've got an athletic cut, we've got a slim cut, we've got a loose fitting range, but I'm not really clear on how do I best design for my audience. So that opportunity as well as inventory is there. But I think the really interesting thing is the relationship between the other data sets that currently exist and leveraging those together.
Yeah, and just another idea from this perspective is, if I see that I'm getting like 100 visitors on my store, and I know like 10 of them are doing this tryouts, right? And then I can kind of see that what product are they interested in. So even for my inventory management and order management, I can do some kind of guesstimate here, right?
Yeah.
To see that this is the popular trending products and things like that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Again, a lot on the data. Perfect. From the whole AI and the whole large language models and all the complex deep tech stuff, Duncan, how do you see this curve going? And for me, I firmly believe that the whole AI infrastructure is going to be very similar to the cloud infrastructure that we saw, 7-8 years back. Very, very commoditized. That you just go, you think of a use case, and you can go and plug into any platform and kind of serve that, rather than worrying about data trainings, cleaning, etc., etc. But from your perspective, how do you see this going, and demystifying the whole OpenAI ChatGPT a little bit, if you'd like to?
Yeah, I mean, I agree actually, just with what you just said. I think it's a fundamental game changer in enabling technology, which ultimately then, because it's going to become so ubiquitous, it is becoming so ubiquitous. It is about how do you then match up, the execution with the kind of specific, with the specific opportunities. So I think that's most definitely true. Which I think is slightly different from saying, this is going to be reserved, or this is not to say reserved, but it's. I see this as kind of a fundamental technology enabler that's accessible to anyone, and I think that's the analogy. Actually, the interesting analogy you made with cloud is also relevant here, because there is this kind of scalability here of this immense strength in technology as a kind of platform, but that it is not limited to just like corporates, for example. So I think that will breed even more innovation, even more dynamism, I think, on the one hand, and accessibility.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, I think you'll still continue to see, even within these spaces, companies innovating and inventing specific technologies and niches that these, LLMs, they just can't, they're not geared to do. And I think that's true, and particularly when you start looking at the kind of vision and text coming together, there's still some kind of gaps. Arguably, that they might get closed, and they likely will get closed, but there still will be niches that will require some kind of real innovation, as opposed to, I suppose, application.
Yeah, and from a reach perspective, you're 100% right, because if I talk to like 10 people on video calls, and we're all sharing screens, presentations, and stuff like that, I would say in the past 2 to 3 months, at least 5 or 6 of them have a Chat GPT prompt open on their laptop, which is just amazing. Yeah, it just. And I'm sure they're using it for very, very different use cases. Somebody for content, somebody for email, somebody for writing something else or whatever, right? It's very, very nice. But it just kind of has democratized the kind of data that everybody was sitting on into, and just given you one prompt to go and do it, and which I think is mind blowing. So indeed, yeah. Perfect. So, last couple of questions, Duncan. Before I let you, like I would say, you've been bearing with me enough. So, I don't want to over welcome myself. One thing is, you have to tell us something that you've never told anybody else.
Wow, never told anyone else.
Just a fact, a fun fact, this, that, whatever. Just anything you've not told anybody.
Well, I think it would be, or maybe it's not common knowledge, but I probably don't publicize this. When I'm not when I'm not building a business or chatting with fellow entrepreneurs like your good self, I'm playing loud guitar, or I try to play loud guitar. Not necessarily very well, but I find it, in a world where we're increasingly switched on a screen, actually to kind of disconnect and find some flow and respite in music is welcome, and analog music, I suppose, is also the point. So it's very visceral, loud, and intuitive, and it certainly gives a reaction.
Very nice, really cool. All right. The second question is how good you are at that guitar. No,
Well,
no,
judging from by what I've just said, it's I'm okay. I'm okay. I would love to be playing more. Uh,
okay. All right, that's good. I'd love to hear that sometime. So that's good. The last thing that I want to really hear from you is, you build a pretty cool product. You're trying to solve, I think, a big need in the market. And people have always traditionally thought that one problem can only be solved by one way or two ways, right? But now
yeah.
there are multitudes of factors that go into solving it, and everybody can do it piecemeal by meal, right? So you build a product, you are on Shopify App Store and multiple other channels, etc. What are the next steps? How do you see your 6 months, and something that we all will be excited for and looking out and rooting for you? So how does the next 6 months look out for you?
Yeah, for sure. So next 6 months, I mean, we're going to we're in the process of going to market. So we're in that exciting stage where we're onboarding customers week by week, which is, yeah, very, very exciting, and we'll be looking to and so our product is available on Shopify App Store, but equally we're keen to reach out to customers, from smaller customers to bigger customers. So we are looking at partnerships, collaborations, where really there are kind of win-win opportunities in retail, e-commerce, yes, but also digital healthcare, weight loss, fitness. So look out for kind of some news on that.
Super. That's something. We really wish you all the best, and I'm sure, including me, all the other community guys are super helpful. Everybody tries to pitch in because I think we do all understand what everybody's going through. It's not easy to build something from scratch, but the fun is that you find a lot of people doing that in the same boat. So get the support, and just move forward. And I firmly believe together we are stronger, and that's how it is. So again, I think congratulations to you and the team to build a really cool product. Guys, I have done my hands dirty in augmented reality for a couple of years as well, so I can tell you what Duncan has built is sounds pretty cool. Play around with it, and I'm sure reach out to him in case he can help in something. As you know, we are the e-commerce geeks here, helping Shopify merchants to increase their conversions and kind of address their problems. So feel free to reach out to me as well if we can help. And thank you so much for bearing with me for another one. And hopefully we'll be back soon with another episode with another new topic. And looking forward to all your comments. Thank you for listening.
Thanks so much.
Cheers.